The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it, now. Welcome to the Influencer's Edge. This is the place where you come to get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques to leapfrog over the pack in sales, persuasion, and influence. Be sure you visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, tune in, and enjoy today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Influencer's Edge. This is the show that strives to disconnect the dots, color outside the lines, and think outside the box. And I think today's guest matches those criteria. So please welcome to the show, Andria Schultz. Hello, Andria.
Hello, how are you doing?
What a stage presence you have. We'll be talking about that and how that applies, I think, to entrepreneurs.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to read your bio. However, I often just blast right through the bio, or there's something in the bio that makes me pause and say, wait, what the holy F does that mean? So let's read the bio you submitted. Doesn't mean that the whole thing is good. So Andrea is a brand strategist and consultant for entertainment professionals and organizations. After declaring herself to be the future CEO of Disney at 8, how's that working out for you, Andrea?
Hey, you know what? To be honest, I think some of the people that have come along my path are definitely helping me get to that point. So hopefully I can get on the board at some point in my career. That would be amazing.
Okay. What is that because you love Disney characters, or what's behind that desire?
I have always had a passion for just Disney in general. It's funny because, ironically, growing up, my mom actually never allowed me to watch cable television. So I was like, and my mom's like, how did you find out about Disney? And it was because my cousins would allow me to watch TV at their house.
Oh,
And so I would come back home with all these stories of all these Disney Channel shows and everything. And my mom was like, I'm never sending you to your cousin's house ever again.
aren't you defiant and flexible in your behavior?
Yeah.
We're going to see how that moves forward in your career path. I'm making mental notes here.
Yeah.
So you committed yourself to learning the world of entertainment. You're a graduate of Azusa Pacific University with a BA in film production. Have you ever produced any films or
So, okay, so in college, we all had to do a big production for like our main capstone. That's what we call them. They're called capstones. And so I got to produce a film with a pretty good budget, actually, which was really fun. I wouldn't say that I continued my production route all that much. I did, I got to work for America's Funniest Home Videos. I did Disney Channel. I was a PA on there, but I ended up finding out that like my passion was outside of production, and just like working with actors and other creatives and helping people find their spark in this industry. Um, but I utilize my skill sets as a producer constantly. So even though I don't necessarily have
so
a producer
put
title.
a pin in that just for a second.
Sure.
I see these movies and the titles say executive producer, executive producer, executive producer, producer,
Right.
assistant producer. My ex-brother-in-law, in fact, was president of the PGA for
No
many
way.
years ago. Yeah, way. My sister's in the entertainment industry. She won 3 Emmys, so they're
That's
sitting there in their office.
amazing.
Yes. But what exactly does a producer do? Because I could never figure it out.
Oh man. Okay, so executive producers for film, they normally fund the films. All right. So whereas producers and directors, they work hand in hand with the creative. And so producers are more the business side of things, whereas the director's the creative. And so they come together to kind of balance each other out. So
Hmm.
that's really the difference between the two. But it's fun because you're kind of opening up doors for opportunity for other people to get involved in other
Wow.
ways. Hmm.
How rewarding is that? Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you. I bet you that's a theme that goes through your work as well. Uh,
Yeah.
she's worked on the production team for a variety of popular television programs, including America's Funniest Home Videos. I remember that show.
The great
TV
show.
channels Biz Aardvark,
Bizarre Park.
right?
Yep.
Toy boat. I told you this is not rehearsed.
It's a hard word, don't worry. Like even the legal team had some issues with that too, so it's really
Say
funny.
it 10 times fast, and I will buy you a 1 year all access pass to Disneyland.
That would be awesome.
No way I'm going to do that, and we're not allowed to compensate, I guess.
You're like,
Or
not today.
I'm a cheap ass. I choose not to. Andrea has dedicated herself to helping other young aspiring talent to live their passions in the entertainment industry and hopes to shift the mindset of youth to broaden their horizons and authentically dream without fear of rejection. Wow, that's a pretty big ambition. Let me ask you a question. I love to find out the why of my guests, but I also want to find out the journey of how. How
Yeah.
did you come to that vision? What was your process? Did it appear to you as a lightning bolt out of the blue? Did it develop over time? Did it come from adversity or
Ooh.
someone inspired you? How the hell did it come about? And then we'll get to the why.
Yeah, no, that's a really heavy question because I definitely had to do a lot of self-reflection. But that's always something that my mom taught me to do at a very young age. And so all of these moments in my life where like I did realize and recognize, okay, what am I truly passionate about? I will say that after Disney Channel, because I was let go, early on in my career, and that was a huge turning point for me. Like I would say it was one of the hardest moments for me, to be honest. Because sometimes people in the corporate world, you know how they play the game. That's just how it is. And I was unfortunate to deal with that. And so, I packed my bags. I went to Canada. I know out of all places to go, but it's filled with nature, and I was able to really just hone in on what I was thinking. And I
Well,
asked myself,
you visited Tim Hortons a lot and ate back bacon.
I love Tim Hortons. That place is awesome. Their coffee is to die for.
Okay.
Hortons shout out for sure. But I remember really asking myself, what is it that that I want to hear from people that makes me feel passionate? And by asking myself that question, I recognized that people would come to me asking, how did you get into the entertainment industry? And I remember every single time that I would get asked that question, I would get so excited and I would want to tell people the process and how I connected with individuals and started to network. And that was the aha moment for me where I really thought, okay, I can teach people how to network. So my first and foremost passion really was networking and like teaching people how to do that. And the idea sparked also to interview celebrities, executives, professionals behind the scenes. I had made a lot of friends in the industry because of the shows that I was working on. And I was able to interview Tom Bergeron. I was able to interview a couple of producers from AFE and a ton of other individuals in this industry as well. And next thing you know, I've got people asking to take a class. And I had to
Wow,
just,
they asked you. You didn't think I'm going to take a class. They asked you.
they asked me. And so I had to put something together really quickly.
How quickly?
And oh my gosh, I would say probably within a month. Like it
Wow.
was fast.
Were you
And
were you confident you could do it, or did you have to fight through? Oh, you knew. Good for
oh
you.
yeah, I knew. I was like, okay, how can we do this? And mind you, this is all in 2016. So we didn't have
So that would
Facebook
mean you
Live
were
yet.
like, that would make you like 15 because you don't look over 21.
Well, thanks. For 33, I'm trying. I'm
You're
trying.
doing well.
But it's funny because, like back in 2016, Facebook Live was just kind of starting to be a thing. And so the entrepreneur spark was really starting to rise. The entertainment industry was way behind, like in this field. And so I started surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs that were like-minded. And I just utilized all the tools that I had, and I started posting things on Facebook, and we didn't have to pay for ads back then. So
Oh, wow.
so it's
Stunning.
all organic views. And I was starting to hit like 10, 15,000 views just on my interviews alone. And I utilized Facebook basically to put a group together and then do live classes. And I started recording them. And that's how I transitioned from teaching people how to network. And then I realized that a lot of my audience went from basically a ton of people in the industry to a lot of actors. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, I need to be helping actors. Like I'm doing
Well,
something right.
let's talk about I promise we'll return to that aspect of the
Yeah,
conversation. But networking is a huge, first of all, it's a huge buzzword. It's a
yeah,
trope, almost a meme uh, for people in the business world. And
right.
everyone has advice on how to network. I don't know if you know my niece, Vanessa Ben Edwards, or a fan of Vanessa,
Oh,
but she talks about networking in her book,
love that.
in her book, Cues, I think. I
Uh,
don't remember, or I don't remember.
that's a phenomenal title too.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
entrepreneur.
Mhm.
So, what does networking exactly mean to you? It's such a broad term that it's almost, I don't know, it's like the word synergy or energy,
It's
or
overused
it's
sometimes.
overused. What
Yes,
do
I
you mean
agree.
by it? What do you mean by it? And what are like three top tips that you can give entrepreneurs and salespeople or anyone out there who wants to network?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say authenticity is huge for me. I definitely think that building authentic relationships and meaningful relationships matters when you are networking, because a lot of the times when you are networking, and this is one of the things that people think with networking is that it's about the number of people that you collect, right? I'm complete opposite of that. I don't believe building your network is about how many numbers you have, but it's about the quality of people that you have in your life.
So hold on. You remember I'm interruptive.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no,
how do
please. Yeah.
you how do you evaluate? What's your process for evaluating quality? What does that mean?
Yeah, so quality really comes down to how can I best serve my network and can I support them in these areas? And then
Beautiful.
vice versa, right? Because I think that it's a give and take relationship, right? And I think that there should be some equality with that, as opposed to one person's just take, 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 take. That's not good either, right? So there has to be a balance when it comes to actually networking and giving to people. And I think that we get so caught up with um, building relationships just to get to the next step. And it's
Right.
like, no, it's so much deeper than that. Like, I genuinely love everybody that I've connected with. I want to help them. You know what I mean? So I would hope the same for my network, that they would want to help me in times that I also need support, right? So I think that that's really what I mean when I say meaningful network relationships.
I salute you on the talent. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it seems to me, and I don't want to mind read, in order to do that, uh, you have to understand strategic patience. You can't
Yeah.
be in a hurry. And you have to understand there's a distinction between waiting and strategic patience and strategic timing.
Yeah. I really do agree with that because it takes time like to build a relationship, right? There's different tiers, right? You start off with initially just being maybe an apprentice relationship, and then you get to a mentorship relationship, and hopefully even more like a stronger relationship from that. And there's different categories that networking relationships can fall under, right? It might end up being a business friend relationship or just business, or it could even just be a friendship, right? So you have to really know and how to navigate where the people in your life fall under. And the minute that you have that, you have the power in your hands to decide, okay, is this going to be fulfilling for both people, or is this self-serving for
Wow.
only me, right?
This
So,
requires a good heart and discernment in your mind. You have to.
mhm.
So again, everything you say triggers curiosity, and it's got nothing to do with the questions that you submitted. So,
Yeah.
what is your process for discernment? Are you a naturally discerning person? And do you teach discernment to your clients?
I do. I really do. I really try to teach some of the psychology of that as well, because I think that, unfortunately, we're going to come across individuals that don't have the best intentions, and even the best strategists and best tacticians, can fall for those, types of people that are sometimes con
I have,
artists or anything
I
like
have.
that, right? That happens. So I can't say that I'm 100% accurate every time, because that's not true. But I can definitely say that with the strategies that I do teach them and I do try to help them implement, that they're able to really decipher, okay, is this going to be a good relationship for me, or is it going to hurt me in that time? I would say one of those tips would be, really do your research as thoroughly as you possibly can. I think people forget that, when they are networking, they kind of just jump the gun in talking with someone. No, like it's okay to do your research. Like ask people around you, see who they might be connected with. They might actually be friends with someone that you know, right? So those are all things that you can be doing to be present in what you want to create for yourself. And I think we forget that because we're in a go, 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 you know, um,
Yeah, the hustle,
mentality. The
the
hustle.
the
Yeah,
hustle myth. That would make a great title for a book, The Hustle Myth.
I like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really good.
wow. All right.
Yeah.
Let's on that one, but we don't have time.
Yeah, we should totally think about that.
But just wow, discernment. I've always said in any business deal that involves more than $100,000, it's better to spend $1,000 on a private detective than $100,000 on attorney's fees or maybe $250,000. I would go
Yes,
even that far. You probably wouldn't, but I've discovered there's no friends in business. You can do business
right.
with friends, but when it comes to money, you better have everything ironclad. And even then, there's no guarantee. All right,
No, that's so true. Oh my
let's keep
gosh.
going. All right. Broaden their horizons and authentically dream without fear of rejection. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to push back. Don't you think we're always going to have fear of rejection? Isn't that a natural, uh, normal, and even healthy human response? So I'm going to push back.
Sure, sure.
Is that really possible, or is that just a marketing?
No, I do truly believe in that. And the reason why is because I really try to reframe the mindset with that. So I always say rejection is redirection. So the
Ooh,
minute
say it again. That's a great meaning.
rejection is redirection.
Ooh, help me understand. That's powerful. That's gold. You just dropped gold. And when you drop gold, I can't let you speed by. That would be a disservice to you and to my audience. So
Oh,
what
I
do you mean by
appreciate
that?
that.
Well, it's true.
Well, okay, so basically what I mean is that in my instance, right, I'm Christian, and like for me, like God really does give us that discernment. And I feel that sometimes God will intercede in the things that we do. Yes, yes. We're believers, so we know. But like the beauty about that is that what is supposed to be yours is meant to be yours. And so why cry about it? Like, you know, it's just one of those things where I'm happy that I was protected from something that I couldn't see.
Yep. Yep.
Do you
The
know
old
what I mean?
someone it was a horribly, horribly, disgustingly racist uh series in the 30s with a uh, Caucasian man playing an Asian with all the stereotypes, Charlie
Mhm.
Chan, the detective, and he said, if you can't be grateful for what you've received, be grateful for what you've managed to avoid. Now, put
Yeah,
horrible racism aside, it's a nice piece of
powerful.
wisdom.
Yeah, it
And
is a nice piece of wisdom.
I think contained in what you're saying, the other thing I've seen, it's recently on Instagram or wherever, it says, I don't chase, I attract. What is meant for me is coming to me.
hmm It's so true. I mean, and it's funny because I did this interview, here's the thing. A lot of actors, we deal with rejection
Oh my
constantly,
God, yes.
constantly in this industry, just in general. And I remember interviewing this beautiful girl. Her name is Jenny Stummy. I'll give her a shout out because this was all her.
Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. So Jenny actually told me that one of her friends actually focused on receiving 100 rejections. 100 rejections.
Wow, that's brutal. It's almost masochistic.
I know. And I was just like, oh my God, my jaw dropped. I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like I mean, to have to go through that 100 times, I can only imagine what his thought process must have been, you know? And she was like, no, but it was great because when he got the reward, he realized how powerful those rejections were. And it became meaningless, like in regards of like the feeling of rejection. It had no meaning anymore. And I just think that that's such a beautiful thing because we live in a world also where sometimes people can criticize us behind our backs about being rejected.
No.
Oh yeah. Right, you know this. People aren't that kind when it comes to these things, but I really try to help my actors see the good in those rejections because
That's incredibly valuable. I've seen actors being interviewed say, and they've all, and I've known a few. They're all children. I think that I think that I briefly dated someone who was a circus performer. She
oh,
actually
that's cool.
worked, and she said circus people are all big babies. Um, uh,
That's funny.
side note, have you
Yeah.
found working with actors and talented people? My sister, who was a producer for a long time, said the most talented people she's worked with are also the nicest and the kindest. It's the schmucks that are not at that level. Have you found that to be true?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will say I've had my fair share of actors, like well-known actors that I've met in real life that I'm like, yeah, you're exactly like the characters that you play.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's name them
Oh,
and get sued. Let's name them and
yeah,
get sued.
let's not do
Yeah,
that.
let's not.
Um, but yeah, I mean, if anything, I will say that I in a way feel like I have to pray for them because I don't know what in the world they're dealing with in
Yeah.
their life. And who am I to judge? You
Yeah.
know, it's like, okay, well, to each their own. You might have a really bad day and fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But I can totally see what she's talking about because, yeah, unfortunately, that can be the case. But I really try with my students. I'm like, look, you guys are representing Actors Brand Academy. So your actions affect everyone else. So be conscious of that, right? So I always try to instill that in them because it's true. People are watching, and you have to really go back to your mission, vision, and values as an actor. And I think a lot of people forget that as well. It's like we have to think like companies because we are our own companies in this industry.
That's
We
a
have to think
brilliant,
entrepreneur.
that's a brilliant reframe. It's a brilliant reframe as well. You're smarty pants.
Thank you.
All right. So let's dive into this questions you submitted, but we've
Sure.
already answered them. Um, well, you've answered this, but let's sort of dive into more detail. What does an actor's brand consist of? What are the components?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, honestly, when we think of a brand, right, we think of a name. And so a name would be like Netflix, Best Buy, Paramount, right? McDonald's. So the thing is that when actors have to think of what a brand is, I always tell them it's the mission, vision, and values plus their mindset, their signature moves, the marketplace, their identity, which can consist of their headshots, demo reels, website, media kits, the networking, and the character development. So all of that combined is what makes up the brand of an actor, right? It's
Character
not just the
development.
name.
By character development, do you mean if they're playing me in a movie, they're insane enough to play me in a movie, they want to develop the character, or does it mean developing their own character as a human?
Their own characters. So like I really go down and I break down, their individual stories, right? We identify their hero's journey and then their driver's force. So you asked me that question in the beginning, what drives me, what motivates me, right? That's a part of it. But I think a lot of actors, they only ask themselves that question. And it's so much more than that. Like they have to look really deep within themselves in order to be able to identify and connect with truly with the right characters that are in alignment with them.
That takes a tremendous amount of courage. And has it ever occurred? It would just seem to me, but from what I know from being a healer and a change worker, in
Mhm.
that process, traumas are going to come up.
Yes, they do. They
And,
definitely do.
and what
Yes.
happens when, what do you do when your clients say, hey, as I explore who my character is and my mission and my drive, I'm getting a lot of traumatic memories or limiting beliefs coming up. Do you give them methods to deal with it? What is that all about?
Yeah, absolutely. I really help them identify what those triggers are. Why did they get caused? Let's deep dive into that. Like I really hone in on, what they've discovered about themselves. And I always, always, always recommend that they talk to a psychologist as well to deeper analyze that because I'm not a psychologist. I can look at the surface level. I can help them break it down as clearly as I possibly can. But I think it's so important for actors to have a psychologist just
Yeah,
in general,
yeah,
because I mean, look at Heath Ledger. Like, that's a great example of someone that could have really truly had someone by their side to support them in the Batman movies. And they would still probably be here, I hope, like that would
yeah.
have been amazing. But like, and God rest his soul. But like, I mean, that is something that I always tell my students. It's like you have to think about every choice that you make because it can be detrimental if you don't
Yes,
nip it right in the bud,
yes,
right?
yes. And
So,
I'm also thinking so many people go to Hollywood because they have dreams. It's a narcissistic.
yeah,
They want dreams. They're going to be famous and they dream of winning the Oscar. It's the motivation is pardon my language, it's fucking nuts. And
yeah.
it's so narcissistic. And uh, do you kick people out of your class when that's their gen? Do you tell them exit, stage left, get out of here?
Yeah, like I thankfully I've been fortunate enough with my process when I onboard, I'm able to ask them the right questions and that helps me decipher are they truly in it not just for the fame, but for building a legacy. I think that that's so important.
Wow. Whoa, gold, diamonds.
Yes.
Something for you entrepreneurs and salespeople and business people out there watching. Are you in it? What is the legacy that you want to build? What do you mean? Again, legacy is a word. I told you, I'm going to pause you. I
Yeah.
told you in our pre-show, did I not? What do you mean? What do you mean? What does Andrea Schultz mean by legacy?
Absolutely. So basically what I mean by legacy is how much am I going to be impacting and making people think outside the box,
Ah, you nailed it.
right? Because, okay, I'll give you an example. Stan Lee, he
Oh,
was
my
a legend,
hero. He's one of my
right?
heroes, one of my
Right.
great heroes.
Yeah, and like he challenged the status quo.
He
He
did.
challenged the status quo and he was ahead of his time.
And
That's the thing.
the big one is instead of making his superheroes overpowered and invulnerable, he made them with foibles and weaknesses and vulnerabilities and everyday
Yes.
problems. Spider-Man could lift a tank, but he had girlfriend problems and he was picked on in school. And yeah,
Right.
that was
It
his
was
other stuff.
real. Yeah, it was real. He challenged that. And he also challenged social issues as well. I mean, could you
That's
imagine
right.
50s and 60s? Like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And then you lead up into the 90s and people are like, oh, I'm open-minded about hearing what he has to say. Wow, like this is impactful. Like, so I have two things. So one, it's not just the legacy, but it's also your credibility in the industry that help build that foundation piece, right? So when I speak to my students, I say your credibility is how you show up, what you say you've done, right? The truth, right? And then you have your legacy. Those two build that foundation so there's no cracks, right? So if there are cracks and it collapses, you're at ground zero again. Now, fame, right? Because you've got
Yeah.
credibility and legacy together with your foundation. I always put fame underneath because all what it does is it supports and pushes what you've already created. Now, without fame, you still got a foundation. Like it's there, it's not leaving. So who cares about fame?
You're
Like,
so true. You're
you
so
know,
right on. I've had times in my other career as Ross Jeffries, the get chicks guru, and it's open secret here. Well, we don't make any secret. We don't hold anything back on the influencer's edge.
right.
There are times when I was extremely famous and then it went away and then it
Yeah,
went back and then it went away. And it's been a personal journey. And also, it's taken me a spiritual practice to say, you know what? This is not what it's about. It's nice to have it. Also has disadvantages because when you get famous, that's when you come under attack. When the
you
human
can't. Yeah.
envy comes out and the need to make other people wrong comes out. And I get to look at that and say, hey, those are tendencies in me. That's an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a reflection. You're
Where
right.
do I hold envy? Where do I make people wrong? And it's been a hard internal look at.
It is a battle. I mean, like I even went through that myself too, because I remember I was on this app and I was doing live streaming and I was one of the very first original people to do live streaming on this app and it was worldwide. It wasn't just nationwide. And I remember I quickly, within a week, 2 weeks, gained like 20,000 followers, like super fast. And I remember I was going through a really hard breakup during that time, and I didn't feel as confident as how I normally am. But I was giving sound advice, but I didn't really believe in that advice. And so within that moment, I realized that I was getting messages from people saying, like, thank you, Andrea, for helping me not commit suicide, or, all of these different,
Me too.
meaningful things. And I was quick in understanding how impactful my words were. And the fact that I didn't believe the things that I was saying, I was like, nope, I can't do this because it's a big responsibility. And when you have those many followers, you are now responsible for those people that are watching you as well. And if you're not centered with yourself, yikes strikes, because that's when you start getting
Yikes, strikes. Well, I like to say crisscross applesauce, but
Oh,
that's
wait,
very
that one's good too, but yeah.
uh, okay. What are the three main reasons why branding is important for actors? I think we've already covered that.
Yeah.
Wowie, zowie. That's another one. Should actors acquire mentors in the entertainment industry? I think the obvious answer to that is yes. And I
Yes.
think anyone, the mentors are useful in any field of endeavor.
Oh
Question
yeah.
is, how do you find a good one?
Yeah, that's the big part. I think that sometimes, in life in general, like especially when you are looking for mentors, unfortunately, I would have to say that people look for desperation. And I think
Hmm?
that people,
I don't
there's a lot of
understand.
people that, if you're looking for a mentor, sometimes individuals, when they see that you're desperate to learn or, anything like that, they can take advantage of
Oh yeah.
your
Yeah.
desperation, right? And so what I always try to recommend to people is be centered with yourself and really understand um, how aligned you might be with this individual. And a good question to ask yourself would be, have they achieved what I'm striving for?
Yeah.
And if we don't know, the following, like what values, guide our decisions and our actions, or what we advocate for, or who we want to become, or what we want to learn, or the types of people that we aspire to become or emulate, we're not going to be able to acquire the right mentors or even be in alignment with them. So I
There's
think,
so this I'm sorry, I stepped on you. Continue.
no, it's okay. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, wow, this is so much more introspective and I think what I'm gaining from this, and this is just my take, and correct me if this is not aligned with what you're saying,
Yeah,
to me that the real challenge courage for actors is as much an internal exploration, the courage to look with clarity and not bullshit yourself about what your mission and your legacy is going to be, and examine the traumas that come up when you do that. And
right.
that's equally challenging and maybe a little scary to actually going out on 100 auditions.
It is. It is. It's funny because, when I look back at the journeys most of my actors have, come through in my program, there's one thing that's common for everyone is that they're happy that they were able to do that exercise so they could cry it out. They need to cry it out because I think that we, when we're children, right, we there's no limitations as children. And when we get to adulthood, we forget what we've actually like created in our minds and we get told who we should or should not become, and
Except you become like one of these little children, the great rabbi from Galilee. I believe he was the one who said that. He was
yeah,
one of mine. He was one of mine.
that is so
No,
cool.
him
Yeah.
and him and Einstein and 22% of the Nobel Prize winners for science. Hey, world, leave us alone. Just we don't invite us to your party, but don't crash ours.
Yeah, it's
All
like,
right.
come
This has been amazing, and I hope this is more than you expect, or different, if not more than you expected it would be. I did tell you that this would be very different. I want to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
I know you are devoted to actors, but let's say we have CEOs watching this. Let's say a CEO of a huge company who said, I will offer you $1 million to come in and train my leadership team in all of these things. And my senior, would you be able to do that? Could you do,
Yeah.
have you done that kind of thing?
I'm actually, ironically, I'm doing that right now with one of my mentors, Jennifer Henderson. She actually owns Strategic Decisions. She's also on the board of Ben and Jerry's. She's
Oh, wow.
incredible. So I'm learning from her, and we've been working a lot with doing management cohorts and all stuff like that, and
Wow.
retreats as well. So I do, in some way,
Wonderful.
teach these things as well. She's given me the opportunity and the platform to share some of my strategies to some of these individuals as well.
So those I'm gonna give some advice, which I never do to my audience, but I'm gonna do it now. Breaking the mold here. You're really extraordinary, so I hope you understand. If you are someone who's a CEO or works corporate and needs these skills, as you recognize your team needs these skills, is it okay if they reach out to you as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How does the audience stay in conversation with you? Because I know they're going to want to do that. I mean, if I was a listener, I would not only want to stay in touch with you, I would have a little crush. Like, too bad she's
Oh,
married.
that's shuck. That's real sweet. Yeah, I would say the best way to connect with me, there's actually a couple ways that you can, but you could go on my website, andriaschultz.com.
How do you spell Andrea?
It's Andria and then SCHULTZ.com.
Schultz. Okay.
Schultz. And then another way that you could also reach out to me is support at actorsbrandacademy.com. That's another great way to actually just email me. I immediately receive those emails. So, yeah.
Good gracious. You have been a fabulous guest and at one of my top favorite guests. I want
Oh,
you, it's true. I speak from the heart. I really mean it.
thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. I had so much fun. Like you made
It's
this really great.
it's true. So stay with me for a post-interview little chat. Ladies and gentlemen, is this not great quality? Do I not bring you some amazing guests? And Indra, thank you for being one of my favorite interviews in the entire history of the show. You have really graced us with your wisdom and your experience, and I'm deeply grateful.
Well,
So
thank you for having me.
we
Bye.
will see you on the next episode of The Influencer's Edge. And to the hostile alien invading armada hovering in their cloaked spacecraft just outside of Earth's atmosphere, remember, eat the Canadians first. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform in any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. If you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Thank you for tuning in to the Influencer's Edge, where you get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques so you can leapfrog over the pack in sales, influence, and persuasion. Remember to visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com to enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you again on the Influencer's Edge Show.